Hey everybody, it's Ryan. Welcome back to How Farms Work. Don't let looks deceive you. Just because I'm not wearing a hat doesn't mean that it's not cold out. I just lost it. So Travis went down to his place to try to work down the remaining ground that needs to be chiseled. And it's been pretty cold the last couple of days and the ground has firmed up and it's hard. We decided that it wasn't worth trying to continue chisel plowing unless we do get some warmer weather, which now that it's December is pretty unlikely. But you never know. In the meantime, I am gonna hop in the 7600. I'm gonna disconnect it from the mower and I'm gonna hook it onto the manure spreader. We're gonna go out to my place, push the calves that I weaned off this week down into the lower lot, and we're gonna clean out the pole shed because I never got to it this spring. The manure sat in the pole shed over the summer and pretty well properly composted. I did put a bale in there in the meantime because I've been busy with trying to get tillage done. I weaned them off and then, I worked pretty much for like 36 hours straight there and didn't really have a chance to get in there and clean out the pole shed or anything. So now that I've got the time, I want to do that ASAP and make sure that they've got clean, nice bedding. So we're gonna hook onto the manure spreader. The last time we used it, Travis and Dad took off the end gate because it's really not doing much at this point other than losing oil. So they decided to take it off, and Travis said that it actually works better now because you can load it a little bit heavier without that gate on there. So it is actually laying out here right around the corner on the ground. I don't think we've gotten around to ditching it yet. Nope. So here's all that's left of it. But the spreader should be ready to go otherwise. We're gonna check the oil in the 76, disconnect the mower. Odds are there is some mowing that we're gonna be doing yet. Travis has one field that he wants to do, it's half done. But since he's got other things going on right now to worry about, he'll probably get to that even this weekend or early next week. In the meantime, we're gonna go out and haul manure with the 76. Now the reason we're not using the 4020 because it's not hooked up to anything is because the last time I used it, the filter on top of the lower air filter is plugged. We got a new air filter, but I guess it's a job tearing that thing apart and replacing that top filter. So we're not messing with that today. Boy, she needs to be cleaned off. She will before we put her away for the winter. I never like to let fodder sit for too long on the mower, especially if it's sitting outside. You always want to clean it off immediately because it will collect moisture and it can rot out your deck. But for now, we're just gonna pick it up, fold the wings in. Actually, I'll probably just fold them down. Yeah, I'll probably just fold them down so that way there's no pressure on the hydraulics. She's a little cold. So we did get this back from Sloan's. They took the tractor apart. There was transmission issues going on with it, but it does drive like a new tractor now, honestly. Ever since we got this thing, the shifting between every fourth gear is really, really hard. But since whatever they did to it, it's honestly driven like a new tractor. The shifting's really smooth, and the only thing that it still does, which is pretty annoying, is that when you move it from gear into neutral, the metal piece down in here, I don't know how well or if you guys can see it, but it's what you put it into and move it up and down. Sometimes the shift lever can slip out while it's still in gear, so it might look like it's in neutral, but it's still technically in gear. So you go to release the clutch and lo and behold, you get a big surprise when the tractor lunges forward. So it's just, you always got to be really careful to watch out for that because it seems like it's doing it even worse now after it came back. Oh, yeah, we're gonna move this outside and load off. Ooh. I give that one about a 3 out of 10 on the enjoyment scale. Worked pretty good. Guess they don't call them leaf blowers for nothing. It's the reason we didn't do it in the buildings, just using the air hose, because we have done it in the buildings and it always leaves you with a huge pile of dust and leaves. I didn't get it totally cleaned off. There is still that moisture layer on there, but all that stuff that you see on there is because it is froze to the deck. So I'm glad that I decided to do that now. We got a hard freeze, so it's stuck to the deck pretty good, but I think I'm gonna pull over to the milk house, spray it off, just to try to get the deck clean, even though we are gonna be using it again. I'm kind of a stickler about keeping this thing clean, because I really don't want that deck to rust out. This is what I mean. It says it's in first gear. It is in first gear. There. Just moved all the gates around, moved stuff inside. Now it's time to start hauling out some manure. I would call that full and then some. We're not overloading the spreader because the slip clutch is going out on it. Overload it too much and it starts clicking, and that's about the last thing I want to spend time doing, is trying to fork out the spreader. So to hold true to our plan to haul the fodder or manure back out where we took fodder off, we're going to be taking this out on top of the hill, and if I need to next spring, I might take some more loads out on my hay strip out there. But this being that the spreader is pretty much on its last leg, and it has been for a long time, we're gonna try to take it as easy as we can on it. Like I said, I might have even filled that a little bit too much, but since we're going out on chiseled ground, I don't got to worry about the beaters not being able to process everything. So when we go through and chisel it in the spring, the chisel will incorporate any large chunks into the ground. I think the best way to do this is to start closest to the buildings and go half that way, half the other way, instead of trying to go down to the end of the strip and work your way back. So we're just gonna start here, go around, see how fast it cleans out, but I'll figure out how we need to drive in order to make it back here once it's empty. We're gonna be spreading a little slower because it is gonna get chiseled down. We don't have to worry about making sure that it's applied very thin. I feel that by applying the manure back on the strips where we took the fodder off, we should be putting nutrients back out on those strips so we don't start seeing nutrient deficiencies. Again, we are going the scientific route here. We do get soil testing done, but we don't test the nutrient content of the manure or anything like that. to figure out exactly the amount of manure that we need to be applying and where. I know that you can get that specific. There are things that you can do to be more accurate in that regard. But for right now, we're just hauling this out to get rid of it. I feel like it works pretty good without that tailgate on there. Now I can slow it down a little bit as we head back to try to push the last of that out so it doesn't just throw it back into the spreader.
got it cleaned out, as clean as it's gonna get. There's bits and pieces all around that the bucket just can't get. But I'm actually not gonna let the calves back in right away. I'm gonna let this air out for the rest of this afternoon to hopefully dry out the cement, so that when I bring in a fodder bale this evening, it keeps the fodder from soaking all that moisture right back up into it. It's always a good idea just to let things air out. I really try to get up close to the wall and everything as I could, but with the bucket on the skid loader, there's only so clean that you can get. So I'm gonna take this last load out and call this a day. Dad and I got bales and the bunk put in
I'm gonna start them off on oats today, start them on corn tomorrow, and just slowly work them up from there. But once we bring out the calves from down at British into the pole shed here, I'm gonna kick these guys down into the steer lot. But for now, they're in the pole shed where they're a little bit more contained, where they can calm down a little bit, you know, get used to having grain thrown to them every day so that they don't take off running through the fence. But I mean, there's probably one or two in here that are particularly bad, and they're the oldest bulls. So run them through the chute and they'll slow down a little bit. But that pretty much wraps up today's video. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out all of our other videos. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. All How Farms Work. And with that, I'll see you next time.